A couple of weeks ago, before I left for altitude training, I had a chance to run with my old high school friend who helped me to ultimately get to know the church and be baptized a member of the church. And it was then that it was confirmed to me that she had decided to ditch all church activity. Now, I don't know exactly what the circumstances are, but I kind of had an idea based on some things that I've seen in social media. And it's interesting. I'm 36 years old. I've been a member of this church for 18 years now. I've had my own personal trials, but with my personal trials and disagreements I've had with members of the church, both in the YSAs and in the conventional areas of this church, there is nothing that I could think of that could possibly take me away from this church because of what the Lord has blessed me with knowledge-wise regarding truth and the reality of things as they really are. And a lot of that came from the deep studies that I did reading and pondering over the concepts contained within the Book of Mormon, and especially the doctrine of the plan of salvation, which no other church or faith organization, Christian or non-Christian, teaches anywhere in this world. And the only place where one individual could come to find the fullness of truth is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with reference and a heavy emphasis on the doctrine contained within the Book of Mormon. Now, everybody has their own individual trials, and in conjunction with the ideologies of the world, misrepresentation of church history and factual church history, whether we like that type of church history or not, does not take away from the truth that God has established through Joseph Smith with the Book of Mormon to stand as evidence of truth, strength, and a light in a world that is full of darkness. The Book of Mormon is that light that shineth in the darkness in a world that's full of misconceptions, differing ideologies, and a host of different ideas that come from the hundreds of different translations of the Bible. We defend this church with the Book of Mormon because it is the one book that separates us from the rest of mainstream Bible-only Christianity. So whether it's an ideological thing, something that somebody has said who's a member of the church that's offensive, or maybe there's a differing belief from what prophets and apostles say, there's one thing that I'm sure that we can all agree on, and that is that Jesus Christ physically lives with a body of flesh and bone. And this church has the hard evidence of that because the Book of Mormon is true. If the Book of Mormon isn't true, then this church is the biggest hoax in the history of Christianity. But because it's true, we know that Joseph Smith personally spoke with God the Father and his Son, Jesus Christ, in person with two individuals, and that the angel Moroni literally did visit Joseph Smith and give him instruction that would prepare him to receive the Book of Mormon, and that we have an unbroken chain of priesthood authority from Joseph Smith all the way up until today with President Russell M. Nelson, who stands at the head of the priesthood on this earth under the hands of Jesus Christ to protect the priesthood, keep the doctrine pure, and move the work forward. I know that this is the Lord's church, and that as we do everything we can to gain a witness for ourselves of the truthfulness of the Book of Mormon, of the living reality of Jesus Christ, and of living prophets and apostles, there is no trial that one could possibly come across in this life that will draw you away from the truth of God. I know this to be true. I know that the Book of Mormon is true, and that this is the only church that the Lord has established that is authorized to teach of his truth and act in his name. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.